Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. This is the Wrestling is Cool Awards, the Wikis Sancho for 2024. We brought our best suit, we brought our best A game. This should be a fun podcast.
Oh, it is a delight. Hey, thank you so much for the support. We're recording this on Christmas Eve. So thank you all for everybody for supporting us throughout the year. I can't believe it. This is technically we're getting into our second year?
We're like a year and 4 months into the podcast, the existence
Wow.
of this brand, which is pretty cool. And this is the first time that we're doing awards because we didn't do awards last year. We instead did a top 10 moments of the year. And guess what? We're going to be giving that to you again. We're going to be doing our awards show. Then in a separate episode, we're going to be doing our top 10 moments of the year. And then we're probably going to be doing a predictions podcast. So this should be I'm giving all the juice. I'm spoiling it all, folks. But you could
giving all the plates.
You could be spoiled even faster if you were on the Patreon, patreon.com/Santi's app, where you could be getting these episodes of the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else. Thank you to all of you throughout this entire year, whether you've been supporting us on the Patreon, whether you've been supporting us on free feeds, wherever it is that you've been supporting us, just thank you, because it's allowed us to be able to do this as often as we do it as a full-time gig. So thank you all very, very much. But Sancho, anything that you want to say about the year 2024 in general?
I feel this is an interesting year because after Cody Rhodes finished his story, it's like, where would the WWE go? And I feel like they kept rising, which was unexpected. You considering that Roman Reigns had such a strong run and the business keeps getting better and we're about to be on the cusp of Netflix. There's so many things that we're still venturing, like we're untapped potential for the WWE, and I feel like we're mirroring that with the Wrestling School community. I mean, we are untapped potential moving forward. We are strong and mighty at the same time. It's amazing how much we've grown as a community and how much we are expecting to grow in 2025. So this is really fun. It's a good way to look back. I was looking back on my Instagram posts and not my TikToks. I had to delete all of them. I was looking back at all my Instagram posts of all my reactions, and it was really cool to be able to have a time capsule of the entire year of the WWE and to look back on it and finally like, wow, look at all these cool moments that happened. And just be like, all right, let's rank them and let's go ahead and give out rewards and things of that sort. So these upcoming pods are going to be a great reflection on everything that we've experienced together, Santi, you and I, trains and all.
No trains. We're done with trains. We've given people PTSD on trains.
The best train award
goes to
listen, Peggy 18.
We're turning this into the Game Awards.
Yeah, here we are.
Please be excited for our upcoming. Okay. So question for you.
Yes.
Is this the best year in professional wrestling, or WWE maybe specifically? It wasn't the best year for AEW. I think that's a fair statement to say. Is this the best year for WWE?
I would say from top to bottom, yes, because we're not done yet. I mean, if we would have crowned an IC women's title and then we had the United States, I think we would have like a full year that the entire roster has grown. There have been a lot of misses, I would say, throughout the roster and a lot of holes in the game of Triple H's booking when it comes to the entire roster. I would definitely say it wasn't probably the best. I think last year was just monumental. But when you really, that's what I'm saying, like when you really start reflecting and going back, you go, oh my God, we had the final boss this year. Like that's the kind of stuff that was earlier in the year that feels like ages ago, but it happened. So I'm going to go on the limb and I'll say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what's funny? I'm going to say yes, but I feel like it's set up for 2025 to be better. It feels like
exactly.
2023 was amazing and it's set up a great 2024. 2024 has been amazing and it's set up the foundations for an even better 2025, especially with how healthy the roster is right now and bigger names that still we didn't even get in 2024. Dude, we didn't get a Charlotte match in 2024. More often than not, when it comes to end of the year awards, there's a Charlotte match in the conversation for match of the year, like there was with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte at WrestleMania 39. We didn't even get that in 2024. Now we're going to get that in 2025 and more, plus debuts, NXT call-ups. Here's a question for you, and I'll give you a second to think about it because I've got my answer ready. So I want to give you a second to think about yours. I don't want to reflect on the bad, but we're going to be spending the podcast talking about the good here. But what was like a big missed opportunity for the WWE in general for you. I'll go with mine. For me, it was the usage of NXT call-ups. There was a huge discrepancy, right? You have the Braun Breakers of the world, and then you've got the Dijaks and Baron Corbins and Blair Davenports and Kiana James, and the list is much longer on this side of the list. To me, 2024 was a big misstep on how WWE traditionally uses NXT call-ups. I feel like that is a big area of improvement for the WWE in 2024. I don't know how you improve it. It's either just have things ready for these people when you call them up, just don't call them up if you have nothing, or call up less people. That's kind of like because yeah, I could harp on long-term booking from Triple H. I've done that a million times, and maybe that's going to be your gap. But to me, I feel like a general gap that I think most people can agree on is just the misuse of NXT talent upon their call-up this year.
I feel the biggest eyesore, I would say, is the WWE draft. That kind of set up a lot of domino effect of mishaps throughout the entire year. I feel like the brand split did a lot of people injustice. And I think I'm going to cheat here and add a third thing. It's just the 2-hour Raw really hurt the momentum that Raw was on. Raw was cooking. Raw was flowing. They found a stride with 3 hours. We were getting such a unique way of storytelling and presentation with the flowing of the camera from backstage in front. Now, they kept some of those things, but it was special, man. It felt like we finally found a 3-hour Raw. Like, oh, it was tolerable. Like, we didn't feel like we were sitting for 3 hours. And that's caused like the mishaps with the women's division on Raw. That caused so much with the women's title on Raw. It caused so much with the tag team division with Finn and JD. So I would say if you had to pin me down for the 3 count, I would say it would be definitely the.
No one's trying to pin you down, you weirdo.
Just say it, dude. If you had to like pin me down, dude, you had to submit me. I would definitely say.
You had to pin me down and make out with me. Fine, I'll go with.
Santi.
No, we're here. We're good. Keep going.
Okay. I would say it was to be the 2-hour Raw.
2-hour Raw. Okay. All right. Let's jump into the good stuff though. Like the good stuff. And we have a lot to go through. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes longer than we're probably intending it for it to go through. We originally had like multiple things planned for this podcast, and I made the executive decision. I was like, no, we need to have the awards like its own separate episodes. Otherwise, we're going to be here for like 5 hours. So, folks,
people love us.
We've got, do you want me to run through the categories first, or should we run through the categories as we get through? Okay.
Let it be a surprise. Granted, I don't have timestamps running right now, so surprise.
That's surprise number one. You got to find them. All right. Let's start off with award number one. And you're going to have to explain this one to the people because even me, I'm like, I don't know what to put here. You wrote down best guilty pleasure. Can you define the best? Can you define the best guilty pleasure for us?
Sure. This is like someone in the roster that you feel that no one likes as much as they're not enamored. They're not the popular choice, but when they pop up on screen, you're like, hell yeah, dude, that's my guy or that's my girl. That is my person that I'm going to ride or die no matter what. I actually love their gimmick. I love their booking. And even if they have a misstep here and there, you're like, hell yeah, dude. They're still my guilty pleasure. And if you're gonna say like, who's your favorite wrestler? You might toss this person out. You know what I'm saying? You're like, this is how good. This is how like, hey, this is how committed I am. You know what I'm saying?
Is this okay? So would this be like if you were in a group conversation and everyone's saying their favorite wrestlers and you said this wrestler, everybody would go, oh,
yeah. You're like, why? You're like, hey man, that's my guy.
That's my guy. That's my quarterback.
With that. Karrion Kross, man. That is my guilty pleasure. There's something about Karrion Kross's charisma. He got me enamored. He has me just so excited to see him not only on TV but on the timeline because he does some crazy stuff on the timeline. He invested in himself, and then he dropped me a follow because
you glazed him enough until he eventually followed you this year.
Yeah, but that's not why I picked my guilty pleasure. I think because. The Final Testament is a hard pill to swallow. The Final Testament had a rough start, very rough start. And I think that they're finding their own now. I still think that the Wyatt 6 versus the Final Testament is not hitting. And I don't know if it's the Final Testament side or the Wyatt 6 side, but every time I see them brawl it out, I'm like, all right. But I think it's because nothing's going to change for the Final Testament if the Wyatt 6 win. There's no like cleansing, brother. There's no purification of any kind to be able to rinse away the sins of Karrion Kross. It's just be business as usual from what we've seen what they did with American Made and Chad Gable. But my guilty pleasure is Karrion Kross. What about you, my friend?
I think I saw that one coming, just kind of based on.
You could have thought of LA Knight. I could have said LA Knight.
No, LA Knight is not a guilty pleasure. Here's the thing. My answer under 99.9% of circumstances, but I'm not going to say this, is obviously Dominic Mysterio. And I feel like if I were to say Dominic Mysterio, you'd give it to me because I've been on this bandwagon for so much longer than everyone else. But right now, I don't think that Dominic is a guilty pleasure. No. I feel like he's become mainstream, right? Like people love Dominic Mysterio, and he's kind of hit that other gear where people are like, oh, Santi, we see what you were evangelizing. We understand you were in the right. Santi knows ball. Dominic Mysterio is the greatest thing ever. And if there's anybody that personifies the term forbidden fruit guilty pleasure, it's my Tom Selleck wishes, Dominic Mysterio, bro.
I like how you went.
Now, Dominic Mysterio is great. Here is actually my guilty pleasure. Even though I feel like there's still quite a few flaws with them, but like, man, the hatred that this person gets is insane. I'm still a Nia Jax person. I'm gonna say Nia Jax. Ooh. I will say there is a lot of room for better Nia Jax matches, shall I say? But like, there are some gems there. Like that SummerSlam match with Bayley was truly fantastic. She's had some great TV matches. Her run towards Queen of the Ring was great. I also personally really have been enjoying her backstage segments, her promo work. That's actually where she's been winning me. I will say she hasn't been winning me over in matches. She's been winning me over in character work. That's something that I do feel there's been significant strides and significant improvements since she's returned to the WWE. Here's the thing. If you don't like Nia Jax style matches, you're just never going to, because they're always going to be the same, because you can only work with somebody like a Nia Jax a particular way, especially when 99% of the people that she faces off against her are smaller than her. So it's just going to be the same formula almost every single time. It's going to be those rare occasions when she's got maybe a Rhea Ripley or a Bianca Belair where things can be a little bit different. But for the most part, you're going to see a pretty standard Nia Jax like struggle to try and get the big person over type of match, right? But overall, I will say I enjoyed Nia Jax this year more than the average person, especially when you look at the Twitter sentiment after a Nia Jax match. It's usually like, set this thing on fire. This is awful. Ended. This sucks ass. Let's move on. And I'm like, hey, a Nia Karana? I'm here for it. I'm here for a Nia Karana. So my answer for guilty pleasure, I will never say it out loud in a public setting, is Nia Jax.
You can't forget that one move she did against Lyra Valkyria.
Oh, dude, the like super bonsai?
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest finishes of the year, right?
Yes,
it really was.
I agree. Yes.
All right. So congratulations to Karrion Kross and congratulations to Nia Jax. Let's move on now to best social post. I imagine we have the same one.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Okay.
My best social post is Drew McIntyre bored at work.
Oh. You know what's funny? I think we can get through this real quick. I got Drew McIntyre and Jack Perry.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got Drew McIntyre and Jack Perry. Honestly, I feel like we, instead of having individual moments, I feel like we should just put Drew McIntyre's Twitter as the winner here.
Yes.
Don't you agree? Like Drew McIntyre on social media this year has been a delight. He feels taboo. He feels naughty. He feels wrong when you go on his social media and you feel like he's kind of stepping over the line of like what he's allowed to do, allowed to say. Like, for example, when wrestlers like Rhea Ripley were complaining, and rightfully so, by the way, about people doing like the AI images of wrestlers with like putting the fries in the bag and stuff. And then Drew McIntyre's response immediately after all of that is Sami Zayn delivering DoorDash as an AI image. Like, dude, like the dude gets it. He understands social media. He understands how to be a grade A troll in a world where, Sancho, you and I are always kind of like berated by trolls, and most of the time we're like, man, that was a shitty troll job. You suck ass at this. But then, man, if Drew McIntyre was one of my haters, I think I might quit.
I honestly, dude, Dijak was up there, but there's something like it's like a what's the word I'm looking for? Refined about Drew's trolling. You know what I mean? Dijak has a great one-note ratio. It's great.
It's
Don't get me
great.
wrong.
Dude, when
It's
he
great.
photoshopped himself ratioing me at Super Nintendo Land
Yes.
at Hollywood Studios, dude, that was amazing.
was great.
He's really good too.
He's really good. But yes, I guess the best social poster of the year would be Drew McIntyre. My favorite post is bored at work during the match.
That was incredible, dude. That really was.
Seth
Board at
Rollins.
Work was so good. I'm kind of leaning towards yours, maybe even being better than mine. I went, like I said, I went with the Jack Perry one. I like the fact that it was so bad he had to delete it.
Yeah, because it was not planned because he was in the same airport. He just stumbled upon him. He was like, hey, you want to be cool with this? And I feel like Drew's at that level. He'll do something and then like ask for forgiveness later. Yeah, I'm sure the people at the WWE socials are like, oh, what did Drew do today? Yeah, what did Drew do today? But yeah, absolutely. My favorite underrated award here at the Wikis.
I agree. That was a fun one. That was a fun one to try and kind of like look back at the moments throughout the year on social media. All right. So best entrance. So I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had a different one here, but I moved it to a different moment and I just didn't want to double dip.
Okay.
So I went with a
yours.
different one here. I'll go first since you've been going first in these last couple ones. And what do you think? You're better than me? No, man. I'm going to go first on this one. Best entrance. And I'm including everything. All right. Whether it's an entrance to a match, an entrance to an NXT match, an entrance for a promo, or maybe an entrance for a debut. I do not think that it gets better than that debut entrance of the Wyatt Six. Holy smokes. Sancho, I know that you're not hot on the Wyatt Six right now. And you know what? Frankly, I'm a little cold on them as well. They're not doing it for me. But that debut entrance, that still lingers with me. The smell of your skin lingers on me now.
Oh, I was doing that song. For you.
I thought that entrance was phenomenal. The reveal of everyone like being dead. Chad Gable getting capped in the head, mobster style, it seemed. The individual reveal of each member of the Wyatt Six. I understand that this is a little bit cheating because this is like a full-blown like reveal, not just a typical entrance for a match, but they went out. They revealed themselves. They went out through the curtain. To me, that is by definition an entrance. And I don't think that there's been an entrance that has impacted me anywhere near as much as what we saw here from the Wyatt Six, to the point where it's still the best thing that they've done. They've nowhere near come close to topping that entrance in that debut. And I hope that maybe one day they will. But that Wyatt Six debut entrance, chef's kiss. I'm not going to spoil what I had on the other one because I'm going to save it for later on. But what did you have here for best entrance, Sancho?
It's amazing that Uncle Howdy almost tripped too on the wires. Just for a second, he stumbled, but he caught it. I would say the best entrance for me was Jey Uso at Backlash. The French crowd totally turned that entrance up to like 11. It showed me like what wrestling could be, and we're never going to reach that top again. And Jey Uso is trying, like, remember when they try to recreate it in the States? And it was like, nah, not even close. Not even close. The French crowd gave their all to Jey Uso that night and made a special moment that will be used forever in every video you talk about Jey and his Hall of Fame entrant video. That is special. And that's where a lot of my things on the list is like, where it's unexpected, unplanned. Unlike, Wyatt Six entrance, very produced, very planned. No one expected Jey Uso to have such of a crazy entrance at Backlash. And I think that what kind of bums me out is Jey Uso has become a secondary character now when he's being reinserted the bloodline, even though we wanted that. But I was expecting him to still be a main eventer in terms of just the way he's treated. But I still feel like he has lost his way. And when I go back to that moment in the French crowd in Backlash, he was definitely the main event at that time.
Yeah. Was it the French crowd that started that? Because I know that he was kind of forcing. Remember, we used to joke about like, man, imagine you're at the front row of a WWE show and Jey Uso's staring daggers at you, and you're not doing the yeet thing because you've got your baby in one hand and a drink in another. It felt like for a while that the yeet thing, like the trying to get people's arms up and down, felt a little bit forced. And then after France, It was just like the thing that you do. It just became part of the wrestling zeitgeist that you do the arms up and down whenever Jey Uso comes out, whenever you yeet, whenever you hear the song. Was it the French crowd that you feel
No,
like popularized it?
No, they were doing it before. I think we were chasing the French crowd after because the French crowd did it the best.
I remember
The
because I do feel like I think they were in Cleveland like maybe like the week after, and they were really trying to hype that up. Do you remember like I think it was the Cleveland Cavaliers? They were trying to get their team to do that, and like no one was doing it. It's too special to try and recreate what they were doing in the French crowd. We don't have it here? Can we just give French crowd best crowd of the year?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, we didn't put that on here because honestly, it's a runaway. That French crowd, I'll be honest with you, Sancho, I think that French crowd is the greatest crowd I've ever seen of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't think of a better one.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Lifetime Achievement Award, even though it's only year one. It's kind of a shame that they're not going back to France during this like road to WrestleMania.
Dude. Puerto Rico is special.
Yeah, but that was 2020. Yeah, Puerto Rico was good for Bad Bunny.
You said of all time.
Yeah, but Puerto Rico was great for Bad Bunny.
Yeah, but it made you want to feel cool, right?
Dude, I felt Puerto Rican there during that entrance, bro. I felt Puerto Rican. All right, let's move on here. Okay, this one is one of those like interestingly like subjective ones because
yes, of course.
You could go like a million different ways with how you want to answer this, but that's the beauty of this. We have best booking decision, Sancho, in WWE. I'll let you take this one. I have like asterisks on mine in case you want to shoot mine down.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I feel that even though I just shot mine down a second ago, it is Jey Uso winning the IC title.
Okay.
I think it was a special moment to see him win. It was really nice to see it after 14 years in the business, getting his first singles. I thought it was the right choice at the time because we were like, dude, he needs to get interjected into the bloodline, and the way they were able to interject him after the interference from Solo's bloodline, I thought worked really, really well. He had some nice defenses as Jey Uso, and it was the only thing that it kind of set it back a little bit was I wish Jay had a stronger promo when his first time his IC title. He went out there with the yeet classes and he was emotional and he's trying to find his footing there, and it didn't hit as hard, but at least that moment where he became champion in that Raw where you thought nothing was going to happen, it happened, and it was a really cool moment to see Jey Uso win, and I thought, wow, okay, he's now on the way to possibly going for the heavyweight, going against more opportunities, but it was just kind of the worst booking decision for me was putting him back in the bloodline, not as a main event or more as a secondary, but at least that moment was good.
Yeah. I thought that moment was great. I missed it, by the way, because I thought it was going to be a meaningless Raw. Okay, so I also had Jey Uso winning the IC title, so I'm going to do the other one that was definitely cheating. Okay. I have SummerSlam, the whole show. This was a rare show where I felt every single match was the correct booking decision. Dominic Mysterio finally turning on Rhea Ripley. We had LA Knight winning the United States Championship. Braun Breaker squashing Sami Zayn. We had the unbelievably good match and the right booking decision of having Finn Balor betray Damian Priest. We had the return of the original Tribal Chief, having Nia Jax win the Women's Championship after the Bayley run was becoming a little bit stale and boring. There was not a single incorrect booking decision on that show. From head to toe, I felt like it was the most balancedly booked show that WWE put on this year. And I feel like even though SummerSlam 2024 didn't have that like moment that like was groundbreaking, the return of Roman was huge. Sure, don't get me wrong. But it didn't have like that I don't know, that like definitive moment that's like, oh, this is a SummerSlam all-timer moment. It didn't have any of those in my opinion, but every single booking decision that they made at SummerSlam 2024, I felt was the correct booking decision. And I feel like that's a rarity when you have a show that big with that many moving pieces for WWE to get every single match correct.
I think for me, I'm just going to spoil it. That is my best PLE. And now a lot of these awards are I did not include WrestleMania 40 stuff because I feel like WrestleMania 40, I know it's kind of cheating in the sense of like, if it's the best, it should be included. I feel like it's its own stratosphere. Like it's revered. It's hard to pick things against it because it caused so much fallout and in a good way for everything that's been happening this year. So that's why you're going to see a lot of my things don't have WrestleMania 40 in it. There is some things for the build-up for 40, but just to spoil it, SummerSlam, yes, best PLE for me.
Yeah. Any other comments on booking decisions of SummerSlam? Like it's pretty. Here's the thing. They were great decisions. And funny enough, like I'm like, they were all the safe decisions, but WWE or the right decision. But WWE likes, as we've seen, to either not make the right decisions or hold off moments for further down the line. And it was this SummerSlam where they're like, okay, we're not going to do this thing where we're going to make you chase the carrot for another 4 more months. We're just going to deliver on the things that we've been building towards over the last couple of months. And that in this era of WWE is a rarity.
Yes.
Let's move on to best brain rot meme.
This is your category.
This is my category.
Oh, he's stepping away, folks. Here it is.
Mama Rhodes.
Oh,
look at your boy now, Mama Rhodes. Look at your boy now. It's gonna be bloodline rules. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be me, the final boss. It's gonna be bloodline rules, Mama Rhodes. It's that, bro. It's that. There's nothing else. Look. I'm sorry. I'm the connoisseur of brain rot here. Let me tell you what the categories were. It was Mama Rhodes. Look at your boy now. It's gonna be bloodline rules. The final boss. I know that sounds like 3 different ones. That's one. All right.
Yes.
The other one is we are, but that's been killed. It's now we aren't. So that's like out, bro. It's been killed. I know you don't like this one, but dum dum dum, raging piss, dum dum dum, raging piss. There's that one. It was Santos Escobar. That's another brain rot meme for a while there. It's back. Yeah. It just came back. It's Tribal Combat. Oos. That's back into the lexicon of wrestling fans. Okay. What else is there, Sancho? What am I missing? We're taking it off. It's The Rock, bro. It's The Rock.
Okay, I just wanted you to give your floor. Like, this is your category.
This was the Santi Award of the year.
Yeah. It was good, dude. It's the fact that everybody, when you're saying, like, it's gonna be, everyone goes, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, man. I've ruined the generation of wrestling fans with that.
You have. In a good way.
All right, let's move on here because we just, that was a Santi moment.
Did you gas yourself out a little bit?
No, man, that hyped me up. Now let's talk about maybe one of the weakest things that WWE did this year. Best tag team. I'll take this one. I had to go to NXT because I don't think that there was a better tag team in all of professional wrestling this year. I'm talking AEW too. I'm talking main roster. I can't think of a better team from the indies. It's Nathan Frazier and Axiom. It is Fraxium. I feel like, you know how there's like the Attitude Era marks? They're like, nothing is better than what happened in the 90s. Austin, The Rock, the Monday Night Wars. I know you were one of those for a while, but you've grown. You've matured. You've matured alongside this show. They also exist for NXT Black and Gold. Oh, DIY. Oh, the revival. FCR. Yeah. Dude, enough. The best tag team in NXT history is Fraxium. They do not have a bad match. Every single time they go out there, you're talking about their matches like, they just casually put on a match of the year contender. They win titles. They've been defending titles left, right, and center. And on top of that, they're in a hilarious story arc where they're going into matches basically like broken individuals and still somehow managing to not just win, but put on a match of the year contender in their process of winning. The answer is Fraxium as not just best WWE tag team, but I feel like they're just the best tag team in general of the year and the greatest tag team ever in NXT. And it's time for the NXT Black and Gold marks like myself to just accept it, that it's Fraxium. They are the best NXT tag team of all time.
For me, I have to pick a main roster is the only one that was actually doing things was Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I think they had a great run. I think it wasn't to their full potential. I will kind of echo back to what I said in the very beginning of the run. It was that they should have had Naomi Freebird the entire titles. So this would have made this breakup much more fascinating, and the Naomi turn much more hit harder if they're working together as a big three, more so than just appearing every now and then as a big three. But Jade and Bianca did some good things with the women's tag team titles that I'm hoping that would pay off later down the road. It's still in developing situations here. I think that they did their best for what they had. And anytime that they were on a PLE, they had some nice matches and some great moments. And I think this is definitely going to be the beginning of Jade and Bianca eventually having their matches at Mania. But yes, definitely a low light of the 2024 season for the WWE was the tag team divisions and the lack of care for it. I mean, you could have, dude, I was literally trying to convince myself, is it the Tongans? Like, that's how bad it was, because the Tongans had that fire ladder match for the titles, but they didn't do anything with it beyond that. I mean, you could even argue maybe it was going to be who had the titles for a good while and they didn't do anything. A-Town and Grayson Waller. Maybe it just shows you how bad it was for the longest time. But I have to give it to Jade and Bianca. They still have it. They're still working with it, and it's going to create a interesting storyline into 2025.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you in terms of main roster tag team. It's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Yeah, it was not a good year for the tag team division, especially on Monday Night Raw. Oh, man, that was rough. So I feel like we picked the only two that made sense, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like these are the only two that made sense. Frankly, I would have 3 NXT tag teams above any of the men's tag teams on the main roster this year. It was that bad. Let's move on.
From TNA.
Yeah, dude. I would have picked the Rascals from TNA when they came over to NXT over any other main roster tag team this year. I'll let you run with this one. I don't know that there's too much to say about this, but best Raw / SmackDown of the year. What do you got?
Oh man, this was the hardest one for me to pick. There's so many awesome favorites. I think The Rock's run on both SmackDown and Raw was phenomenal. Great, but those were usually at the end of the shows that we were all waiting for. They usually open up with a fire promo from The Rock and Roman, and they end with something exciting. In the between was kind of like, we're waiting for Bloodline. So those are the kind of ones that I kind of had to put a notch down below this one right here. And it was recent, and it has to be the New Day breakup. There was something awesome about that entire segment that carried over to the entire Raw, and there was also in-ring greatness with Gunther and Dominic in that same Raw. And I just enjoyed the New Day breakup. It was done so well, and it lasted forever in my memory. The one runner-up for me would be The Rock beating down Cody Rhodes, the final boss. That was a lasting moment as well in the entire Raw and SmackDown. You could easily put, Jacob Fatu's debut with the Wyatt Six. That was a great week of wrestling. Remember that little?
Oh, yeah.
The Wyatt's debut, then Jacob showed up on Friday. But I would have to go the New Day breakup with Gunther and Dominic, because I think this planted the seed to the WWE that Dominic could be a main eventer by himself and possibly be a babyface down the road. If you just pair him up against the right heel like a Gunther, we got a Dirty Dom chant in that Raw. Something that we would have never thought we would have heard, considering this man was booed out the building. So New Day breaking up with Big E and Gunther and Dominic gives me the best Raw of the year.
I'm going with you. I'm piggybacking off the same answer. I think it's that one. I think there were Raws with bigger moments. For example, The Rock beating down Cody, Raw Day 1 with The Rock's return, and the weirdly good Jinder Mahal versus Seth Rollins World Championship match.
Wow, yeah.
There were Raws that had good moments or good multiple segments, but this Raw, the one you're talking about, the breakup of the New Day, the great promo with Sammy and Rollins, the return of McIntyre, the Gunther match, the women's match, Intercontinental Championship tournament getting kicked off. This was the best Raw, in my opinion, and it came out of nowhere, right? It was a 2-hour Raw too. And I feel weirdly enough, the fact that it was a 2-hour Raw made it more memorable, because it was just bang, 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 bang. There wasn't a moment of respite, a moment where you can say, this is the bathroom break. That to me was the best head to toe, best episode of Monday Night Raw this year.
I think the one in what was it, Monday Night Raw in Austin was pretty good. That was the one where Rhea was in the ring and then Dom and Liv were up in the crowd and then Damian Pierce appears and they had a brawl on the outside. That was a pretty solid one because I think CM Punk was at that one. So yeah, there's been some, like you said, bits and pieces. I mean, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, right? That's a solid moment as well. But this one was really fun. And I think on SmackDown, I think the reason why SmackDown's a tough one to pick, there were some solid ones, but they're all bloodline. They're all revolved
Yeah, and if it's a bloodline thing, it's like they took up 45 minutes of a 2-hour show. Right. So that then becomes what I was saying, where like, okay, there was a lot of those great episodes of SmackDown with a singular, super awesome, memorable moment, right? Like Cody slapping The Rock, like how that ended, like that, but that took like 47 hours to get through. And it didn't give the other aspects of SmackDown time to flourish. So that's why I like this Raw. Nothing overstayed its welcome. Everything went the right amount of like what a segment should go. And we got a handful of really memorable moments and segments. So I agree with you. To me, that was the best Raw / SmackDown of the year. So let's get into the bigger things, like the best PLE of the year. I'll take this one. I'll go first here. Listen, I feel like most people are gonna go WrestleMania 40 here, but WrestleMania 40 had some really high highs. That's for sure. I feel like it doesn't get higher than the highs that WrestleMania 40 achieved. I feel like that's a fair statement. But there were low points of WrestleMania 40. Like WrestleMania 40 could be considered a bit of a roller coaster. Good, bad, okay, great. I can't say that about Backlash 2024. Backlash 2024, Sancho, is the little B tier PLE that could. Listen, it had great matches all around. There wasn't a single bad match, but then the thing is that a crowd can take a good match and make it into a memorable affair. You already talked about that Jey Uso entrance, but everything else was elevated so much more by the crowd. Remember how we were originally supposed to just get Solo and Tama Tonga versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, and then that randomly turned into a street fight that was super hype? That was Backlash. The great triple threat match, one of the best women's matches of the year between Bayley, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, happened at Backlash, made even better by that crowd. Damian Priest, Jey Uso, that Jey Uso entrance, and honestly, the coming out party of Damian Priest was this match. We also had a championship change. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair becoming your tag team champions in front of that super hot crowd. And who can forget what I think is one of the best matches of the year, top 3 for sure, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, that was made into what felt like a Champions League final with that crowd. Dude, this was my favorite show of the year. And it was not overly long. It was tight. It knew what it was. It was a B tier PLE that was there to showcase the matches that were advertised, and it wasn't trying to build to anything bigger. Yeah, we had the debut of Tonga Loa, who Tonga, who almost botched his major appearance in WWE. But overall, head to toe, I loved Backlash 2024.
Ooh, it was so good. I think it's the AJ Styles, for AJ to not acknowledge the love that he was getting is top tier professionalism.
It really was, bro. I would have been like,
for me. But dude, and it was interesting is Cody and AJ didn't switch. They could have easily done the Hogan and Rock thing where Hogan just all of a sudden became a babyface in front of the crowd.
I know they couldn't after WrestleMania 40. They couldn't.
They couldn't. But what's so exciting to see, I agree with you that Backlash was one of my favorites, but I would have to echo back to what we talked about with SummerSlam 2024. I think the biggest moment there were so many fun moments in SummerSlam 2024. Dom pulling off a heel move as a heel is insane to me, and that one stuck to me because it catapulted this notion that Dom could be a figure that could cause ripples in the entire WWE. And then the rise of Liv Morgan, that was a fun thing. And then Rhea, having those first moments of like, hey, I could fix myself, I could fix my shoulder. Those were
is Dom the Loki of WWE?
Dom is, I would say so. Like he is, maybe he's the anchor bean for that he's coming across. But yeah, I enjoyed SummerSlam from top to bottom. It was a really fun PLE for the things that you said earlier. But solid show. It's interesting to me that the PLEs seemingly got better. There was probably one PLE that wasn't that good. I'm trying to remember which one that it was. I think Bad Blood gets
Bad Blood was not good.
Well, it's not good because of the way Drew and Punk.
Not even that, man. The middle of the show wasn't great.
Yeah.
Like aside
And
from this what opened the show and what ended the show, everything in between was just either
yeah.
not good or just straight up bad. Elimination Chamber wasn't great. Money in the Bank wasn't great. Like there were some misses, but for the
You just
most
didn't
part,
like
like
Drew cashing in. That's what made Money in the Bank
the
bad
main
for
event,
you.
like what was the main event?
Oh, now you got me there.
See, because it was just not memorable. It was Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. It was a very not memorable main
Oh
event.
yeah,
See, trust
yeah.
me, it's not just like I hated the cash in. Like it was not a very memorable
Was
show. Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker going for 15 minutes and forgetting that Braun Breaker is a badass and Sami Zayn winning, not good, not good.
was Clash KO and Cody?
No,
Clash of
Clash
the
was part 2 of Cody versus AJ Styles. I Quit, and then Drew McIntyre
Ah,
versus Damian Priest. That was a good show.
was it AJ going like, ah, no,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
quit? I like when AJ hits his southern accent a little bit. But yeah, I would say my favorite PLE was SummerSlam.
Okay, I was there. It was a great experience. It's probably
Oh
my
yeah, that was fun too. That was fun
yeah.
too seeing you there.
Yeah, that was with turning into Doc Ock with all my
Yeah.
arms and different cameras. All right, I'll hand this one over to you. Best surprise of the
Oh,
year.
sorry. Can't forget about CM Punk. CM SummerSlam. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they made
yeah,
the
yeah.
right call. Drew McIntyre winning match 1 was the right call.
Yeah,
Absolutely, it was.
yeah.
Let's talk about best surprise of the year, Sancho. What did you put here? Because again, this is one of those where we could be on polar opposites.
Yeah. We could be in polar opposites. I would say is Bronson Reed 6 tsunamis on Seth Rollins was one of the biggest
Ooh.
surprises of the year. It felt different. It felt like a coming out party for Bronson Reed. It felt like it was us. We were watching a star being forged. You know that moment? I forgot which Marvel movie it was, but Thor was like getting Stormbreaker. I think it was Endgame, and he's like, and he's like holding on to the sun as he's getting like obliterated by it. And then you had what was his face? Oh God, what was the guy from Game of
Peter
Thrones?
Dinklage.
And Peter Dinklage going like, he's died like that. That's basically Bronson Reed moment right there, dude. He's getting forged into a supernova Stormbreaker, and you're like, oh, cool. One time, all right, 2, oh my God, 3, 4, 5, and it just kept going and going, and Seth Rollins was just getting destroyed, and that to me is the biggest surprise because I did not expect this. I did not expect Bronson Reed to destroy a world champion and destroy the poster boy of the WWE, Seth Rollins, in such a way that it was. Like, I didn't think Seth Rollins was going to be on the show for a while. I don't know if they were going to, do that to him, but I thought it catapulted Bronson Reed into not like, I wouldn't say main event, like top tier main event, but definitely someone who could poke at the main event whenever possible and be, I guess, a force of nature going forward in the WD. Like, whenever this guy's appeared, you got to have all eyes on him and watch out for that tsunami because that tsunami is beautiful. And you know what makes it better? When it's 6 times in a row.
I like that you went with this because I feel like most people, when they do this particular category, it's like a heel turn or a face turn,
Yeah.
right? And neither of us went with that. I went with the reveal of I Show Speed in the Prime Battle.
What?
Dude, it kills me every time when they reveal who's in the Prime bottle, and like that's actually a surprise. You're always kind of like, okay, who's in there? Like it's revealed like a birthday present surprise, and I hope that it's a shtick that they do every single year. I love the reveal of I Show Speed trying to big dog Randy Orton, which there's no way that was part of the plan. Randy Orton had to humble him because that's part of the kick. And then the RKO, bro. Randy was getting kind of punked there by I Show Speed.
He had no choice. Dude,
it was the Steve-O and Umaga moment for I Show Speed. I cracked up laughing. I was genuinely surprised as somebody that's in streaming culture, as a streamer, as a content creator. It was just cool to see somebody like I Show Speed who does what we do at just such a higher level, getting this major moment and recognition. So for me and what I do, it just kind of felt like this special little extra treat. It almost felt like it was cater towards the us of the world. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Because yeah, I could sit here and say, "Oh, The Rock revealing himself to be part of the
CM Punk
bloodline."
returning after the crossover.
Yeah, like obviously those are awesome individual moments, but
Yeah,
like there's
but
just
this is the
some
wikis.
yeah, there's just something dumb and unique and actually like suspenseful over seeing who's gonna reveal to be in that prime bottle. To me, it's the reveal of I Show Speed.
Do you think when he goes, arr, arr,
Yeah,
and when Randy did that back to him, and he
yeah.
goes, stupid, boo.
That was dog language for stupid, stupid,
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, dude. You know what? 2025, early prediction. Mr. Beast is going
It's
to be in the prime bottle.
it's Mr. Beast. It's
It's Mr.
definitely
Beast.
Mr. Beast. It's got to be Mr. Beast with their thing with like a Lunchley. I can't see it being anyone else. That's to me who makes the most sense. I hope they keep going with the
Oh,
with the shtick.
you just want to be the guy. I told you should be in the Lunchley.
I never get unmasked. I'm just
No, they peel the little and it's your face with mold near it.
Let's move
Moldy,
on
man.
here, Sancho. Best faction of the year. This was a down year for factions. No, I would look. Listen. In 2023 and 2022, factions ruled WWE. Like they ruled the main event scene, and it feels like that wasn't the case this year. I'm just gonna go with what I think is the de facto answer. I'm gonna go with the Bloodline when they added The Rock, like that stretch with the Bloodline, and then of course Jacob Fatu being added. But that's like Bloodline 2.0. I'm gonna go with Roman's Bloodline when it was The Rock in there. Like that specific version of the Bloodline. What about
Fair
you?
enough. When the Rock's like, and Solo's gonna sing the national anthem.
Yeah, that version of the Bloodline going into WrestleMania 40 had me glued to my screen.
Oh, okay. I have to go within what I have here because that's such a good answer. I didn't think of that one. I think it's Solo's Bloodline as someone that.
That's such a worse answer than mine. Boo!
It's not. It's
yes,
not.
It
dude.
is.
It's one of those ones we've seen Solo Sikoa mature into a great talent, and you have to think about the things that the Bloodline did. Man, Jacob Fatu was unleashed out into the world, and he destroyed the tag team division, destroyed the mid card, did so much destruction, and then the Tonga, Tama Tonga, dude, yeah. You know, all this. It's like he and him's like there's more personality out of the entire group than the Rock's Bloodline. Like the Rock is only Rock and Roman, and then everybody else is solo, not doing anything, and then Jimmy and Jay just falling in line. But you have this Bloodline. There's excitement. Tonga Loa could mess up at any moment, at anything moment. It's so fun.
It was must-watch TV with Tonga Loa there. You're right.
Like,
You're right. God.
It's like Tonga Loa missed Cody Rhodes in the turnbuckle and he threw him into the ropes. But I would definitely say the reason why I give the best faction award is the Paul Heyman turn. Them shield bombing Paul Heyman in Madison Square Garden. Oh, that was awesome. I remember, where was I? Was it TwitchCon? Where were we? I know I was in Boston. And I was like, dude, I have to watch this in the hotel. And I put the crappy hotel internet. And I remember with my laptop. And I was like, I'm going to watch this right here. And this man gets power bombed, who looks completely disheveled, hasn't slept a minute. And then he goes, "You are not my tribal chief." And then I was like, oh my God, let's go. Dude, and I called it from the very beginning. I was like, the only way Solo could grow is if they get rid of Paul Heyman. And then once they got rid of Paul Heyman, dude, it was all full, like it was all green lights ahead, and it was awesome. Right. Full steam ahead. I love it. So that's my reward.
Okay. I feel like that's you explained it pretty well. It's still a significantly worse answer than mine, but that was pretty good. Okay. Let's go to best segment world premiere. I'll just go with this because we've already talked about it. Sure. So we don't have to spend too much time on it. Mama Rhodes, the destruction of Cody Rhodes.
I agree. That's my pick.
That's okay. So we're both there, man. Like it felt unfiltered. You know what? Like them having to to bleep out The Rock. It just felt like this was like we were gone back in time. Like we were back in the Attitude Era for that incredibly long beatdown. That was
Yes.
not 2 minutes. That was like a 10-minute just ass whooping of The Rock on Cody Rhodes. That to me was the best segment of Monday Night Raw in the past like 20 years, if I'm being honest with you. That stuck with me.
I think what also sold it too is that there was no security, there was no Adam Pearce. No one was trying to stop The Rock from doing what he was doing. And then when they went outside and then the rain falling down
You
as if
can't
it's a
script
paid
that,
extra,
bro.
you
You
can't,
can't
dude.
script it. The rain
It's
made it so much better.
so anime, right? It was
It-
just so good. So good. And I think what actually amplified that was the social media post of The Rock at the time, where he was like, dude, this Rock is unhinged. This Rock is, I think he is, the final boss is so good because he's saying all these decrypted things. Well, not really cryptid things. He's just literally calling out Cody and his mom. And then the fact is like Cody Rhodes goes in the back and then boom, this big menacing Rock with Versace just comes in the frame and just starts beating down him and throwing the trash can. And then look at you now. It was good. I loved it, dude. I think if you were going to watch it and you show that to an Attitude Era fan, they would go, oh, wait, this is happening still? Like, yeah, dude. Every now and then it happens, but it happens.
I'll go with let's do maybe talk some honorable mentions because
Sure.
it feels like we've already talked a lot about that segment. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
also just kind of give a shout out to, and you can pick whichever one, the Chicken and Peter fights between Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. I prefer the one that ended with
The car.
the car tsunami. But funny enough, like, yeah, that's the big moment. But the thing that I remember is, do you remember Bronson Reed camping with the trash
Yeah.
can, waiting to
Yeah, I
throw it
did.
for like like an awkwardly long amount of time? The
Yeah.
camera's on Bronson Reed and he's camping, waiting for Braun Strowman to turn the corner so he can throw the trash can at him.
Yeah.
That to me has stuck out as like as a really, really cool moment in Monday Night Raw this year. I love the stuff, obviously, with The Rock, acknowledging Roman Reigns. That was fantastic. You know what? A moment that neither of us will probably talk about, but like was really good, was Bailey kind of revealing that she knew that Damage Control was talking behind her back and
She
kind of
knew Japanese.
yeah. The Batista moment, what we were calling it back then. That was pretty cool. The reveal of CM Punk as the fifth member of War Games was pretty neat with the return of Paul Heyman. So there was a lot of awesome individual moments and segments in WWE, but Mama Rhodes just sticks out. The fact that you can just say Mama Rhodes and everybody knows what you're talking about just kind of goes to show like how much it's like ingrained itself in like professional wrestling lore at this point.
I feel like we don't have best promo, but I guess I could stick it here with best segment. That's a runner up. Is Drew, Punk, and Rollins.
That trio. Oh, say his name. Say his name.
The entire thing was, it felt like the jazz. It felt like they were just improvising with each other. One was laying down the beat, and the other one would. I feel like because I'm wearing this jacket, the smoking jacket. But yeah, that would definitely be my best segment. And the one that I kind of thought about is for best entrance, because it's like it felt like a segment the way they shot it, was WrestleMania 40, where Sami Zayn is walking towards the ring and he goes into his family, and then Kevin Owens, and like, you got this, like, and then his music hits, and then bam bam bam, like that was a like fun produced segment / entrance for it. But yeah, definitely the final boss is iconic. It is the iconic thing that we will always remember. I think that was a lot of people's first interaction with The Rock, which is insane to me if you really think about it.
That's true. That is very true.
And I would say the reason why I liked it the most, sorry to cut you off, is that The Rock realized that he had a pivot, and we got the final boss heel mega real version of the most popular man on earth, Hollywood Rock, amplified to the extent it was like the Hulk gamified to a million, and that would make it gets me giddy every time I talk about it.
Do you think they can recreate that magic?
Yes, because he's going to be back, and he's going to be back with a vengeance, hopefully. I think what could happen, hear me out. The Rock watches John Cena's final run and gets jealous and envious that he is getting these flowers and he's getting these opportunities and he's having these banger matches. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to come back for a year. I could totally see The Rock doing that, dude.
I would love that. I would love that. Let's move on. I guess we're starting to get into like individual awards here a little
Yeah, we
bit.
are. Yeah,
But
we
let's
are.
look at best rookie. And I asked Sancho to define this, right?
Sure.
I asked like, was this like best person in NXT, or was this the best person that was in their first year of the main roster? And Sancho, what did you decide?
I went with the best person on the main roster, like the first year, their debut on the main roster, not necessarily like a callback and call up, but I went with Jacob Fatu. There's undoubtedly one of the best debuts in a long time. His debut of Solo Sikoa suckering in the top three baby faces of Randy, Kevin Owens, and Cody and going, and then starts laughing. Just like that, like Lex Luthor laughed. And all of a sudden, Jacob Fatu, someone who the in the know wrestling fans knew about, and we're all waiting, and we were like, oh my God, they signed Jacob, so this guy's amazing. We're watching him on Match Club. We're watching all his crazy moves. The internet's like pining over him. We're swooning over him. We already fell in love with him. And we're like, how are the WWE's going to introduce him? Are they going to do him coming out with a black hoodie as always and coming out from the ring and pulling something like the way they typically interfere with Bloodline? Nah. This man walks out of nowhere and shows off his entire moveset on the top three baby faces, and then continues to outshine every time he steps up in any way. His promos are amazing, which was a shock to me. Everything that Jacob Fatu does is must watch, and they always have to nerf him in any kind of way. And wow, he is a generational talent out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
I love you.
They nerfed him with a walking boot, and he was still super kicking with it. Remember that? He was still destroying people in a walking boot. I think that's a phenomenal answer. I think I went with a more traditional answer here. I went with Braun Breaker's first year in the main roster.
Okay.
It was just more what you would expect of a WWE talent, not immediately being thrust into like a super uber mega major storyline. They kind of made him go through the ringer of like, all right, yeah, you're kind of our next big thing, but like here, defeat the local talent, defeat the enhancement talent, destroy the NXT people. And he even made those like moments that could be throwaways into memorable moments. He made names out of that Kale dude, how he just destroyed him with those spears, right? And then kind of progressively moved his way up. It just sort of felt a little bit more organic compared to like the insane immediate like Jacob Fatu is going to destroy all of the top main guys that you know and love. It felt a little bit more earned, the journey of Braun Breaker, getting eventually to that Intercontinental Championship, multi-time Intercontinental Champion, big matches with the likes of Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Sheamus, etc. And it just sort of feels like they did it the right way with Braun Breaker, because they could have easily given him the Jacob Fatu treatment, and I feel like people would have been like, okay, I can get on board with that. But they made you sort of forcefully fall in love with Braun Breaker by making him go through a traditional journey, even though they honestly probably didn't have to. So I'm going to go overall with Braun Breaker, but I love the answer of Jacob Fatu. Do not get me wrong. I think that's 1A, 1B in my opinion, in terms of like best rookie years on the main roster. But I went more traditional. I went with Braun Breaker here.
One thing as well, I'm excited to see we had that stare down moment, and that just let us know that we're in for a treat.
Dude, so many of those moments this year where Triple H is like, are you interested in the wares that I've yet to release? It's like when gaming companies release teasers. See this thing that's coming out in 7 years?
He was like, these potions are too strong for you, traveler. Come back later.
All right, let's move on to best storylines. Okay, so I want to clarify before we answer best storyline is that
did you forget best improved, my friend?
Oh, I did. Did we?
We'll talk about it real quick. Best improved.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I do. I had it in a different order. Yeah, let's talk about best improved.
Okay, let's talk about best improved.
Best improved.
Someone who is like on the roster. This award's kind of like the opposite. Someone who's been on the roster for a long time, and here they are. They had a great year, and that's going to be Solo Sikoa for me.
Okay.
Solo Sikoa. I already said my reasons why, but he's getting better, progressively better. His mic work is getting really solid, and he's found a new style for himself that works for him, that he's able to latch on, that he's able to experiment with. And ever since he lost Paul Heyman, he's fantastic. And I think like if they ever bring the bang back together again, and if he ever pairs up with The Rock, I cannot wait for him to be with The Rock, because I think he can be able to ping pong back and forth very organically. And I think like it won't be as much as oil and water situation as The Rock and Roman was. Like those were kind of oil and water. Like The Rock was just this flashy guy, and Roman's much more subdued. And those styles definitely did clash. No pun intended. But I think that with Solo and The Rock, they're gonna be back and forth, jokey, jovial, charismatic. I think Solo's gonna step up to the plate, bring prediction, and kind of meet The Rock near his summit.
I agree with you. You know what? Like I feel like that's maybe the best answer. I had a couple here that I was kind of like mulling over. I considered obviously Solo Sikoa. I considered Drew McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre's rise kind of started in 2023, so it sort of felt like a continuation of what happened in 2023. But Drew McIntyre, to call him best improved is kind of nutty, but like honestly, like his rise in 2024 was insane. I'm going to go in a bit of a different direction because this is somebody that I didn't have, the highest of regard for because I hadn't seen her really have a great storyline yet, but I do feel like she kind of had her breakout year and I feel like she fits well here. I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. As best improved because I felt like Liv Morgan for a while there was just somebody that might have just reached a dead end. Like you've reached your limit, traveler. You've reached as high as you can reach, the best that you can accomplish. You've reached it. You were given an opportunity with the Women's World Championship cashing in against Ronda Rousey, and it didn't exactly work. Yeah, you got your super hardcore fan base, but I feel like you've reached your ceiling. And then 2024 came around, her return at the Royal Rumble, her amazing performance at the Elimination Chamber, her kind of like revenge tour going after Rhea Ripley, taking her out, winning the Women's World Championship, that run as champion, the run with Dirty Dom. I have to give it to Liv Morgan in terms of most improved stock. Solo went from honestly still fairly highly regarded considering he was in a bloodline story arc and being in main event caliber situations. And he did absolutely elevate himself. But I felt like Liv Morgan went from honestly like mid to low mid card to women's main event. And to me, when I look at the growth, the ceiling that she broke through, I thought was more impressive than the ceiling that Solo Sikoa broke through this year. So I'm going to go with best improved being Liv Morgan.
I like that. I mean, Liv went from just her thing was that she had lollipop and she had a blue tongue. I mean, that's basically where she was before this. And you kind of got to go to both of both people who won our wikis are people that followed up a tough act. Hard to follow up Rhea Ripley, hard to follow up Roman, and they've definitely found their own.
Yeah, I agree. Now we can go to best storyline. And one of the things I wanted to clarify before we went into best storyline is that we've separated best storyline and best feud, even though they could kind of be synonymous, but I think you'll see what we mean. Like when you hear our answers, at the very least, when you hear my answer, I don't know Sancho's, that there is a difference between best storyline and best feud. Can I go with best storyline? All right, let's see. I'm really curious where we are. We are in when it comes to this answer. I went with the AJ Styles retirement. The AJ Styles retirement angle, I loved. I'm wearing the AJ Styles powder blue jacket right now. I know it's a rehash of a greatest hits moment in WWE, the Mark Henry fake retirement. He attacks John Cena, but I loved how he went about this to try and put Cody Rhodes at ease and like bring down his guard so he could attack him and force himself into another championship match because he kept chasing one and being shut down by Nick Aldis. That like 4-week stretch of AJ Styles trying to find his groove and AJ Styles being down on himself and saying, all right, I'm ready to call it a career. It worked on me. I'm going to go with best storyline, the AJ Styles retirement angle.
See, this is where I'm going to cheat. And I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it here. It's WrestleMania 40. But I think like that is the storyline of all storylines. But this is where I don't think it was the best feud. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like Cody and Roman, not the best of feuds. The in-ring chemistry is not the best compared to where my pick is best feud, but it was a surefire great storyline. To be able to set up, it's off the piggyback of last year WrestleMania 39, and then when you bring in The Rock, like the way not only was in-ring the best storyline, but behind the scenes and how they were able to pivot and how The Rock was able to be the heel that we didn't see that coming and everything leading up to it, the promos, all that kind of fun things, and bringing in Seth Rollins, and then like the execution of it in the ring, where Seth Rollins represented the Shield of the past, and then Cody was the future. Oh, hello. What did you
We're
do?
good. We're all right. We're all right. Don't worry.
Where Cody's like, the future, and then Roman cannot go of his past. Like, there's so many good things. I know that people wanted Stone Cold versus like the
It would have been
Undertaker.
better. It would have been
It would
better
have
with
been
Stone
better.
Cold.
It would have been amazing if it was Stone Cold, because Stone Cold has always been the arch nemesis of The Rock. And to see the stunner on The Rock one more time, right? The way The Rock could sell a stunner, magnifique. So I'm gonna cheat here and go into WrestleMania 40. But I think it's not because of it's not on the back of Cody and Roman. It's the entire saga of bringing in the final boss, and then the Rock bringing in the TKO aspect into that WrestleMania 40 thing, where, hey, I'm on the board, I could do whatever I want. It's going to be bloodline rules, and I'm going to make sure that you're never going to win. These kind of things, like, it was a really good fuel to the fire for Cody, because if you think about it, if Rock and Roman happened at WrestleMania 40, Cody could have finished the story in WrestleMania 41, but it would have been missing the final boss as a hurdle. And having that obstacle in the final boss just made the story a little bit more sweeter.
Yeah, and let's not forget, like, the things that were part of that saga, right? Like, you have the We Want Cody movement. We have the WrestleMania press conference. You remember that? Have a look.
Look at this.
That should have been part of the brain rot of 2024. The Rock just had so many brain rotty moments. It was great. There were just a lot of cool moments, right? The unification of Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes coming together to try and take out the greater evil. There was a lot of awesome stuff in that storyline. That was definitely the storyline that got the most tender love and care in the year. Absolutely. That was where the spotlight was for WWE in 2024. I just like the micro spotlight of AJ Styles and his little retirement angle. I loved it. It worked so well on me. All right. And now let's go to Best Feud. And I feel like Best Feud is like this guy and this guy, right? Like, that's what we say. This guy and this guy, that's the best feud. Sancho, go ahead, because I have a feeling we got the same one.
It's Drew McIntyre and CM Punk.
Easy.
It was so good, and it's like one of those ones that you didn't expect that you would like so much. You ever been to a restaurant and it's like the chef brings you what you want, and like the order comes in, right? It was exactly that. Like, I did not expect I would like this. I did not have it on my bingo card that when CM Punk first appeared on the roster at Survivor Series, that he would feud with Drew McIntyre. I thought it'd be such a one quick rest stop to move on to the Seth Rollinses and to the main event of the Gunthers of the world. But Drew McIntyre, throughout the entire time in the Wrestling School podcast, we're like, who could retire CM Punk? And then Drew McIntyre, based off this feud, could be one of those guys that could easily retire CM Punk if it ever came down to it. I think the matches they had was phenomenal. The chemistry was good. And that ending in the progressively organic way from the gimmick matches of the bull rope match and all those, the touching the four corners of the turnbuckle, into the Hell in a Cell. But not only that, having Punk be a special guest referee, like those kind of moments at Clash, like that was a fun thing. And Seth Rollins being the guest wrestler, like there were so many solid moments that brought this feud to that Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood in Atlanta, Georgia. And for it to end the way it did, and to feel like, wow, it felt finally over. It felt like a great beginning, middle, and end. And that, to me, what made it the best feud. And like I said, Cody, when I was talking about Cody and Roman, the chemistry between Punk and Drew felt right. It felt really solid. It allowed Punk to sell. It allowed Drew to show that he is menacing in the ring, and allowed Punk to show that he is truly an underdog at his age, because old CM Punk would have definitely been a better a fight against Drew, but using the guile, the veteranship, the experience of CM Punk, it was really fun to see old man Punk beating Drew.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no point in me rehashing everything you just said, because I agree with everything that you said there. One of the things that you left out is how elevated Drew McIntyre was in this feud. Drew McIntyre came out like a megastar off the back of this feud, and he looked like a megastar during this feud. How often did we say, ooh, Punk is going to eat McIntyre alive on the mic? And McIntyre kept just raising his level, just getting better and better alongside the progression of this feud, to now I think he's come out of this feud, and now many people regard him as one of the best promos in the WWE today. I'm not sure if it's because of the Punk feud, or maybe the Punk feud allowed us to finally see, or allowed the WWE to see how good Drew is, and now he has a much bigger leash to be as ruthless on the mic as he wants to be. But man, like the fact that Drew McIntyre was able to stand toe to toe with who I think is a top 3 promo in WWE history and CM Punk, and not look like a doofus and actually just be as good as CM Punk, and in some cases better, is such an impressive thing to say. Such a testament of how good Drew McIntyre was in 2024. He was just incredible. And obviously, like, the matches were great. SummerSlam was great. Bash in Berlin and Bad Blood. And you know what, Sancho? It was bang, bang, bang. It wasn't match, 5 months in between, match. Match, 5 months in between, match. Like, I tell me, how is it that this feud, with the big stars that it had, was able to get through 3 matches in the amount of time that it took Damian and Finn to do one? How? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we have polar opposites of like how to do a great feud and how to do a bad feud. And the CM Punk and Drew, it's so good.
I know. But the 2 hour Raw did a lot. I called it. I said the 2 hour Raw is going to destroy the Judgment Day's vibe, and it did, because Judgment Day
definitely did.
Had like 8 segments in that 3 hour Raw, and it helped build their stories, because the Judgment Day's vibe is all based on their clubhouse being part of it and all the backstage segments. But yes, dude, for the amount of work that CM Punk and Drew did, like I said, it went from, oh yeah, John Cena and CM Punk should be his last match. No, it's now could be Drew McIntyre easily.
All right, so Sancho, I'm going to ask you here: do you want to do best male and female wrestlers or best male and female match? What do you want to start?
Let's do best match. Let's do best match.
All right. So let's start with best women's match here. Best women's match of 2024. Sancho, what you got here?
I got Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank 2024 was a solid one. That was the one that I felt like was an eye-opening moment for Chelsea Green. Tiffany Stratton winning was a solid choice as well. We all felt that was going to be epic, but there were so many awesome moments in that. We cannot forget the crazy bumps that Zoe Starks and Io Sky took.
Oh man, that like pile driver on the prop top ladder. That was insane.
Yes, it was nasty, and Lyra Valkyria had some great moments in that match. But to me, the quintessential moment of that, the iconic moment, is Chelsea and Tiffany on the top of the ladder, and Chelsea, which after the moment that I saw, has taken this bump before in the past, but to see it done in the WWE and it landed perfectly, amazing. And also as well, to be the Money in the Bank where it came after the men's, right? Because Drew won the opening moment. To be able to say, no, we're going to go on later and still be 1,000 times better than the men. Great moment. And I thought that this was good for all the women in the match. I don't think anyone looked bad. And I think like the only one that kind of didn't catapult even further was Zoe. But Zoe's one of those ones that she's ready to go at any moment. And it's kind of like if they put down the right card for Zoe, I think people would start seeing how great Zoe is. But she's been in this PFC thing. And when you get that label, dude, it's hard. It's hard to come off of a bad faction name. But yeah, that's going to be my one, because it was, I think a lot of people, like, we knew Chelsea was awesome, right? We're like, hell yeah, dude, Chelsea's going to be it. I think that moment gave Triple H the idea that she could be a champion. Right there.
I think you hit it on the head. I feel like women's Money in the Bank was fantastic. It was significantly better than the men's. The result was great. The spots were awesome. It really was an awesome showcase. And it was also a great showcase, like, of individual talent, of reminding you, hey, Zoe Stark still got it, even if you feel like she doesn't. She's still really damn good. So I love the choice. Funny enough, I feel like you and I are on the same wavelength in that the women just had the better gimmick matches. Maybe not the War Games match, but I thought that not only did they have one of these great types of matches, but it might go down as one of the best ones of these types of matches. The 2024 Women's Royal Rumble was impeccable. It was the perfect Royal Rumble that you could have. You have the correct winner. Say what you will about Bayley now. Everyone wanted Bayley to win that. Everyone felt like that was her moment. And not only did she win it, she had to earn it from number 3 and go almost a full record distance to win the whole whole thing. We had return from injuries in Liv Morgan, return from hiatuses from people that left to a different company in Naomi. We had debuts like Jade Cargill. We had a shock surprise of somebody that shouldn't be in the WWE, a Forbidden Door entry in Jordynne Grace. They literally checked off every single imaginable box of what makes a good Royal Rumble. So I'm not going to overthink it here. It didn't have as great as, like, of course, insane spots as Money in the Bank, but that's what Money in the Bank is designed for. Royal Rumble is designed for something else entirely. But if you as somebody that is watching all of the Royal Rumbles right now as part of the Patreon, you probably have your checklist of like, what, okay, this has to be in a Rumble for it to be good. There was not a single thing that was missing from the women's Royal Rumble match in my personal checklist of what makes a great Royal Rumble match. This isn't just the best women's Royal Rumble. This is up there with one of the best Royal Rumbles, period. And I think that once you get through your watch along, I have a feeling that you're going to be thinking the same. This Royal Rumble match was impeccable.
I think what is a positive aspect of that Rumble is the treatment of Jordynne Grace as well. Oftentimes that I've seen is even when WCW was purchased, Booker T literally comes in, does a spin and Rooney, gets stuttered out of the ring instantly. Like RVD, same thing. Tommy Dreamer, ECW. Anytime they had a debut, went to the Rumble, they did not get treated. Probably RVD's got treated a little bit better, but they get eliminated in unfashionable ways. Jordynne Grace was treated as a champion and treated as if she's going to be a future champion in the WWE. So I kind of agree with you. And then the ending was great. I mean, they're all in the
that
apron.
ending was cool,
the
dude.
Oblivion, yeah, right? The
I was
Oblivion
so stressed in that ending, man.
Was Io, Liv?
No,
and
it was
Bayley?
Jade, Liv, and Bayley, and they were like on the apron. Oh, it was so good. And then Liv hits that awesome Oblivion on the apron to eliminate Cargill, and then like instantly Bayley capitalizes and kicks off Liv. It was such a good ending. Such a good ending.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick. I tried to find like there were some that like the singles matches that I thought that were up there, but I kind of attributed to my best female wrestler of the year. You know what I mean? Like I use that ammo to amplify why I picked the best female.
Okay. This isn't something that we came planned with, but is there a best not gimmick match for the women that you would give it to? I got one so you can think about it. For me, it's Io versus Bayley, WrestleMania 40. I thought that thing was fucking fantastic. That match was so good. From a technical perspective, the in-ring story that was told, it was emotional. The build-up to it was great. The biggest problem with that match was that they didn't follow it up. That was the biggest problem for everybody because it kind of stalled Io and it definitely dampened Bayley's championship reign right off the bat. The fact that they didn't follow up with a storyline or another match, but that match was freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely that's going to be my pick. I mean, I tried to pick a Liv and Rhea one, but they involve outside forces.
No.
That one was a pure match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump over to the men's side of things. Sancho, you can go. I'll go with this one. You went first with the last one. I have a feeling maybe we don't have the same one. I went with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell. Dude, that match was so good. It was so damn good. It was incredible. You got thumbs up. Is that your pick too?
You ever seen that? I put it in black and white because of the reaction of so much blood that was happening, and it was beautiful in black and white. The moment that when Drew is literally just flood bleeding, and it's not the reason why I liked it, but it's what Drew does. He goes, Punk, please don't hit me. Look what you did to me. Look what you're doing. Stop it. Like there were so many moments of that in the ring psychology. And we watched so much Hell in a Cell going up into Drew and Punk that we were looking for things. And this one showed you that this violence was contained in the Hell in a Cell because it needed to be. It wasn't like guys getting thrown off the top. It wasn't like a spot where they getting thrown through the fence and breaking the entire thing. There wasn't that many craziness. I mean, the toolbox was kind of a part of that zaniness. And then you had the friendship bracelet, which was kind of either you loved it or you didn't, but it was still paid off the right way. And I love that Drew looked like a menace. Like he looked like he was devastating, and the resiliency of CM Punk. That kind of spot where he took that, what was it? Like a sidewalk slam into the table on the outside.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dude, the Claymore into the corner of the steps.
Yeah. There's so much good. Oh yeah, when he missed, he whipped it. That's what you're talking about. In that thud, that sickening thud that he made.
Do you think he was supposed to land on top of the stairs?
I think that's what he was aiming for, and it just fell short, and it was just even worse. And I like that the both superstars were like disappeared. I mean, Punk showed up after.
They sold it for sure.
They sold the devastation of the Hell in a Cell, and I think like when you have someone like The Rock make an appearance and everyone going, who cares? Like, I wanted to see Punk and Drew close the show, because not only that, the entire match was great, but when CM Punk is sitting there going, I want my wife, where's my wife? Like a Rocky Balboa.
My wife.
And he say it like that. He say it like that. Where he was like passed out, needing oxygen, going into the runway. Like, that was amazing. Like, I think like from top to bottom, we always have this kind of template or barometer is like, hey, if you like wrestling or you want to introduce someone to wrestling, this is something you introduce to someone. Like, all right, you've seen the Ray and Kurt, you've seen the triple threat of Andrade, Mello, and LA Knight, you've seen those kinds of things, you've seen the Big Show versus RVD, you've seen that. Here is what I'm going to show you that's really, really good. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was really awesome, and I think like watch that in black and white if you can, and you realize that it's actually a masterpiece, very cinematic, very artful, very je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, we're months removed, so I don't think you can say recency bias, but I think this is the best Hell in a Cell match that I've ever seen. Like, just through and through. It had the bells and whistles without having the over-the-top bells and whistles. Like you said, there was no one falling from the top of the cell going through it with a spear or anything like that. It just felt like they picked the appropriate match stipulation for the feud, and they just needed to find the thing that would contain this violence into one place so that it didn't seep out everywhere. And the Hell in a Cell played its role. It almost felt like the Hell in a Cell was like a mediator in this match. It felt like a character, as opposed to just like a big prop, which is what it's kind of turned into for many matches of the stipulation. But the brutality, Sancho, it felt earned. You know, it felt like every drop of blood, every messed up thing, every big bump, it felt like, yeah, this warrants it. It didn't feel like they were trying to be over the top for the sake of being over the top. And it does go to speak volumes about their build up to the match. The matches leading up to it at SummerSlam and at Bash in Berlin, it just felt like we earned it. And honestly, I feel like this is a perfect example of why we don't need feuds to last a year. 3 months. Bang, bang, bang. First match, second match, rubber match. Sometimes the classic formula just works, and it worked here. Because had they spent months waiting between matches, we would have lost a lot of that heat, a lot of that momentum that they built up. And because they didn't wait, because the heat was all compiled into the Hell in a Cell, we got one of the most beautiful car crashes that I've ever seen. That match was freaking brilliant. It's my favorite match of the year through and through.
You remember the security guard?
Oh, yeah. It's like, dude, trying a little too much. But yeah, like when you compare this to, like, say, Cody Roman, right? Like, Cody Roman, to me, without the crazy shock of the last 8 minutes, was a great match. I thought it was a really good match. It was
a bloodline match, though.
It was good, though. This didn't need the bells and whistles. The bells and whistles were already earned before it. And it's like, all right, we've done all of the crazy third-party things. Seth Rollins is a special guest referee, screwing you over out of championship matches, screwing you over out of Money in the Bank. We're here. All of the shocks and all of the oohs and ahs outside of the match have already been done and compiled to this moment. Now it's time for you two to deliver a amazing bell-to-bell match, and they did. It didn't need the bells and whistles.
This was the best match. Mania was the best sports entertainment moment in my mind.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
That had everything that we love about wrestling.
Like, if you want me to get a little bit more nerdy with it, I feel like the best technically good match, like from like a Graps perspective, was Cody versus AJ Styles. That to me, like, that was a master. That was a symphony of just beautiful, beautiful wrestling. But this was more than that, right? This wasn't just about what was happening in the ring. This was the story, the psychology, the brutality, everything just kind of compiled into a neat little present that was Hell in a Cell 2024. It was so good. All right. Yes. Shall we get to wrestler of the year? We separated between
Best
male and
women's
female.
wrestler.
Yes, let's start with best women's wrestler. Who do you have here?
The one and only Chelsea Green. Dude, top to bottom, closing out the year with Saturday Night Main Event, becoming the first United States champion, the longest reigning United States champion as of
To
today,
this day,
by
still,
the way.
still.
To this day. We can't forget about the jobs that she did for Bianca and Jade Cargill. She was always getting squashed, and I remember I stumbled upon a reaction to one of her first promos. We're like, oh my God, Chelsea got her own promo? That's awesome. For her comeback to kind of end with the United States champions, very nice, but we cannot forget, like I mentioned, Money in the Bank. That was a great run. Her involvement at Clash was fun. Running out with the luchador mask, that was a fun little moment. She always is and always is down to, no matter what, she wants the people to feel something, and she always delivers.
Down
and
to what, Sancho? Down to what? Down the clown, baby.
I didn't want to say it. But
you know, I said down the clown literally yesterday in my household, and Sarah's like, what? I was like, oh, it's a Sancho thing.
It's a Sancho brain rot. Yeah. It's in you have like a cordyceps. But not only that, the dumpster match was such a big surprise. That was a fun thing with Michin, to be able to have that kind of match and not be overly gimmicky, and I know she says that she would have loved to be in the Divas era, but that match could have easily been a Diva era gimmicky match where it was nothing serious and it was treated seriously, and it was even the fun little promo up to that where she's running around in the garbage can with a garbage outfit. But then Saturday Night Main Event, like right then and there, the way that she did the Unprettier was nice, and everything that she is, dude. I think that's what best wrestler is, not only like wins and losses. It's about what you bring when you are on camera and what you do for the storyline that you're involved in. And if you put in your best effort when you're not shown in the best light, that's Chelsea Green in a nutshell. And I think that's why she deserves Women's Wrestler of the Year.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I went more of a traditional pick here. I felt like many of the top women this year were either in side quests, like a Bianca Belair being in the tag team division for the entirety of the year, or there were major gaps like a Rhea Ripley who had to take so much time off. I went with Women's Wrestler of the Year, just being the most consistently good regardless of what script she was given. I'm going to go with Io Sky. Whether it's being in the main event, that amazing match against Bayley at WrestleMania 40, her great run where she did the job for Lyra Valkyria in one of the best women's matches of the year in that the Queen of the Ring semifinal, to going into the tag team division and having great matches in the women's tag team division, to then being great in gimmick matches. Like she was the highlight of the women's War Games match. She was the highlight of the women's elimination, the women's, what am I saying here? The women's Money in the Bank. And then you add the fact that they just said, hey, we need more main eventers. You're like the only one we got that's like ready to go that people would believe in. Being plucked out of the tag team division right into the main event scene, helping Liv Morgan get over by giving Liv Morgan the best match of her, honestly, like best match of her career, in my opinion, at Saturday night's main event. At the very least, best championship defense that she's had. So I feel like Io Sky, when you look at the women's division, I know we've been using this term, I feel like she's been the anchor being of the women's division because she's been everywhere. Been anywhere and everywhere, helping people get over by giving them their best match, just delivering great matches. And when it comes to like best performer of the year for us, like wrestling is cool, when we look at our greater brand, like what we do on Patreon with our match club, it is Io Sky. How many Io Sky matches have been voted by our community for us to watch? And every single time you and I are just left in awe and in wonder. So yes, I'm going to go with Io Sky as the best women's wrestler of the year. I love your choice of Chelsea Green, but I feel like and just to play a little bit of devil's advocate with your choice, I feel like you have to make some concessions with going with Chelsea Green. Like you have to look at the greater character of Chelsea Green and like the little things that she delivered throughout the year that make her just so special. But with Io Sky, it is more, everything that she did just seemed bigger picture and less nuance. So it's an easy choice, but I think it's the right choice for the year. Io Sky.
Like mine's like an art house pick. You know what I mean? It's like that movie that
Chelsea Green is an IPA. It's it's a dark roast.
It's the A24 pick. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Chelsea Green as an A24 film. I don't know. That's a funny concept. That's a funny concept.
I
For
know
those that
one
don't know what that
funnier about
means,
Kane.
was that?
I know a funnier one about Kane.
Oh, you gotta go to the Patreon for that.
You gotta go to
You gotta
Patreon
go
for
to the
that.
Patreon for that. All right.
Wait, you want to
Men's
explain A24?
Oh yeah,
You were gonna.
A24 for those that don't know, it's like those are always really good movies and they're not over the top, they're not in your face, they're just usually a lot more nuanced and a lot more thought out, a lot more artsy, and they're really good movies usually.
Oh yeah. Like Parasite.
Parasite was great. I love Civil War, dude. I
Oh,
adored
you did?
Civil War. I thought it was fantastic.
Well, it's happening here, so it's
Womp womp. I'm in
Womp
Canada,
womp.
baby. Woo! Anyways, men's wrestler of the year in the WWE. What are we feeling here, Sancho?
I went first for the women. You go first in the male.
All right. I'm gonna keep this nice and simple. I'm gonna go again, kind of like with Io Sky, bigger picture. I'm just gonna go with Cody Rhodes. He's not my favorite, but I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes. That John, like when I look at somebody that's tried to put the wrestling business on his back. Are you booing me? I feel like there were wrestlers that had better like individual matches, better feuds. Like Drew McIntyre was fantastic. CM Punk was great this year. What we had of Seth Rollins in 2024 was great. The final boss, Roman Reigns, was great this year. AJ Styles was fantastic this year. There's a lot of great choices. But when I look at Cody winning the Rumble, that being such a great cast member, because I feel like I have to call it a cast member of what was the movie that was the Bloodline saga going into WrestleMania 40, becoming the Tony Stark of the Avengers there at the end. Well, I guess the Tony Stark would have been Seth Rollins, becoming the Captain America of Avengers Endgame there. And then following it up, yeah, sure, not with like the greatest, like best storylines, but like, oh, what a great match with AJ Styles. Following it up with another great I Quit match. Let's not forget the solid championship match that he had with Logan freaking Paul at King of the Ring, the SummerSlam main event, the Money in the Bank main event. Like he just had a consistent Rolodex of solid matches, solid feuds. It just, the thing is, Sancho, it peaked too early. It peaked at the start of 2024, and that's why I think a lot of people maybe don't have Cody Rhodes in this regard that I have him in. And folks, I'm the one that for weird reasons gets labeled as a Cody Rhodes hater. I am not a Cody Rhodes hater at all. But when I look at the greater resume of everything Cody accomplished this year, the workload that he had this year, the continuous good matches and villains that he had to go through, even though because of how early WrestleMania 40 peaked, because of the expectations that were set by The Rock and Cody Rhodes after WrestleMania, many of the matches and feuds that he had felt like filler, like you knew Cody wasn't going to lose. But if you remove that feeling, the match again, the stuff with Kevin Owens is great. Everything else that he did was great. It's just the most balanced year out of any of the men that we've had. No time off either, Sancho, because Drew McIntyre, a lot of months off as well. CM Punk, a lot of months off. Don't even have to tell you about Roman Reigns. I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes here. And you've been me this whole time. So what are your thoughts?
I have. My thoughts is going to be my men's wrestler of the year is Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre had a lot of responsibility this year to carry that CM Punk feud because CM Punk wasn't around. He would come out and cut a promo. He would move the story forward by himself. I think Drew McIntyre having that great moment where he, when the garage gate came up and it's Drew standing over a bloody Punk, like that was an amazing moment. There's just so many things that Drew has been a part of. And for him, you got to remember where Drew started off with. Remember we had this whole thing on the Wrestling School podcast, like he's not a heel, he's a face. Because
that was you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We, the royal we, the editorial we. I was saying that because Drew is justified in his actions. He's going up against the bloodline. He's get screwed constantly, and he's always been that. I'm gonna say label him as the Punisher. He's out to do justice for the injustices. Granted, his injustices are maybe delusional, But Drew McIntyre is must-watch television. Drew McIntyre doesn't have the bells and whistles of the entire company pushing his story forward. Drew McIntyre does most of his work on the socials. He gets over by himself. He gets over with great work when he appears on camera for the time that he has. And his in-ring is great. The moment that he had at WrestleMania 40, where he gets cashed in on by Damian, like all that stuff works so well.
Winning Elimination Chamber.
Winning the Elimination Chamber, when thanks to AJ Styles. Screwing over LA Knight.
And Logan Paul screwing over Randy.
Yes. So the entire thing was Drew's year. This is the year of Drew. You could kind of feel like it's like the year Luigi, from Nintendo. That kind of vibe. This is the year of Drew. I have to specify now.
Yes,
the year
the
of
Nintendo
Drew.
Luigi. We have to be really clear.
Luigi. But yeah, this was Drew's year, and I think like having it with CM Punk and Drew at Hell in a Cell was a great way, and he's now kicked up his new mission, so to speak. His new snake mission is to go up against the OG Bloodline, and that's exciting that he's like doing a Kill Bill, knocking Sammy off. Now he's going to go after Jay, and I think he's going to keep working down the line until he either goes after Solo or goes after Roman. And I'm all for it, dude. I'm on board with this. I love his wrestling. And I love his, I know that the Claymore, for me, I feel like is one of those moves that I wish he had, like a jackknife powerbomb type of thing. But he's just so fun, and he's so brutal in the ring, right? It just works so well. You could stick this guy in any type of situation. If he decides the next day, I'm going to wake up and go on to Gunther, you're on board and you want to see Drew to be champion again. Like, there's so many avenues for Drew McIntyre that works really well. And I feel like he plays with house money so well. I feel like Cody Rhodes, just is literally out bankrupt with goodwill with a lot of people, but it's not his fault. It's the way he's been booked, and it's not Cody Rhodes' fault. And I feel like Drew is playing with such freedom that allows him to make mistakes and allows him to toe the line of being taboo that I feel like Cody can't do. And I think that because Cody's limited in being a babyface, I feel like that's a bummer. I think they need to let Cody have those Homelander moments that everyone wants, but not necessarily be like uber babyface, but like, hey, stand up for yourself every now and then, like he did with Carmelo. Like that, like if they did more of that, I'd be like, ooh, Cody. And I think that Kevin Owens is bringing that out of him. But I think you're right. He peaked early, and I think Drew has had a consistent resume throughout the entire year of being the guy that we've always said carried Raw. Remember, like every time where he popped up, like, dude, that was a great segment. I want more of Drew McIntyre. So it's going to be Drew Mac for me. Not only for in the ring, out of the ring, social media, everything that we talked about in his feuds, you got to give it to Drew.
Yeah. For me, like if I'm picking like odds-on favorites for Superstar of the Year 2025, like it's set up to be Drew McIntyre. At this point, as we leave 2024, for me, I was looking for just more overall work rate consistency, different feuds. Like I felt like Drew McIntyre was very much shoehorned into one feud, which was the CM Punk one, which was our feud of the year. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes, we saw him doing different things and having main event quality matches with a handful of different characters in the WWE. The problem with Cody Rhodes this year is that all of those felt filler because it's like you're never in danger. The WWE machine is behind you. But I can't ignore the first 4 months of the year, the amazing story arc that he was a part of, and everything else that he did there with the John Cena schedule. But right now, If I'm picking who's my favorite right now, it's not Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes isn't even top 5. I'm just trying to be objective because people think that I'm a Cody Rhodes hater, but I have to. When I look at the year, Cody Rhodes stands out to me.
My question for you is, what would take Cody to the next level this year? I think would have been Randy Orton and Cody. If that happened this year, like at the tail end or near Survivor Series, because Cody did not have a match at Survivor Series, I think that would have been like, wow. But because we're in a baby step schedule with Cody Rhodes' saga, that's next year.
I know what it would have been, man. I know what would have fixed Cody Rhodes in general and would have made him so much more interesting. If AJ Styles was willing to attack his mom and force Cody to say, I quit. If Cody had to actually drop the title in one of those, what we considered filler feuds, everything was up in the air.
Oh,
Everyone and
I
he
like
could have
that.
won it back. He could have won it back the next month.
Who loves their mama? We all love
Yeah,
our mama.
yeah.
Except Kofi doesn't like his mama right now.
That would have changed everything. That would have changed the narrative. It would have gone from, this is another Cody Rhodes filler feud to, ooh, we saw him lose in a place that we didn't expect him to lose. We no longer have those expectations of having to follow up Roman with 1,000+ day reign, a year plus long reign. Cody can lose at any moment. Had he lost to AJ Styles, even if they made AJ Styles a transitional champion for 1 month, that would have changed everything. It would have made Cody Rhodes matches and feuds so much more do or die. Because that's what was missing from Cody's stories. Because his performances in the ring were great. They were great. Yes. But there was no drama in his matches, and that's not his fault. The drama was missing because we knew he wasn't going to lose to Solo. We knew he wasn't going to lose to Kevin Owens at Bash in Berlin or Saturday night's main event. It wasn't going to happen. It never was going to happen. But had they set the expectation that, it can happen, totally different story. Totally different story altogether.
I think that's the biggest hang up is when is he going to drop it? And I think everyone knows it's not going to be this year. But I like that. I didn't think about that aspect. Remember when I thought that Pharaoh was going to be in trouble by The Rock?
That The Rock was going to punt. But they did kind of like a dog punting segment. They did with Drew McIntyre.
I thought that would have been like a fun little wrinkle to it. But yeah, you got to like to be able to stand up to The Rock and Roman at their peak. That has to be something to be said for. But I still got to give it to Drew, man. Drew bored at work.
Bored at work. That was so good. I told you we needed to split these.
You're right. How long are we?
We're at an hour 40 with just the awards. And this man also wanted to do the top 10 moments of the year in one episode. We would have been here forever. All right. Well, Sancho, that was fun. You know what? Do you think we should do a new heat order for the year? Or is that too much?
And everything was pre-taped.
No, I meant for the whole year. A new heat order of 2024. Year?
Oh my god!
Are we willing to do it? That'll get us to the 2-hour mark.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I don't know if we could record the top 10 episode today, but let's do it.
Let's
give the people what they want, because if we don't do 2 hours, people pitchforks. What are you eating there? Post Wiki award show.
A cold omelet that's been sitting there.
Oh, yeah. She walked up. She gave it to you at the beginning. You should have ate it before we started. At number 1.
I'm a man of the people.
Number 1. Well, I mean, the way we could do this is Cody Rhodes or Drew's at 1 or 2, right? So, who's 1? No, this is not the best. About to being the best. The new heat order is about who has the buzz. Who has the excitement?
I would say buzz is Drew. Drew is more buzz.
No. Dominic Mysterio, baby. Come on, brother.
Number 1 of the whole year?
Number 1 of the whole year. Who has the buzz? Who's closing out the year strong? Dominic Mysterio. Tom Selleck wishes that.
Wait, I thought we were doing a new heat order that encompassed all of 2024.
Am I wrong? Is this not 2024 still?
It's not Dom. Dom is not number 1, bro.
Okay, fine.
Hey, I don't like Big E, but what you guys did, that was wild.
But he felt like he was listening to music. Like one of my favorite things in the NBA is LaMelo Ball. And everyone's like, LaMelo Ball plays like he has AirPods in. He's out there in the NBA. So it felt like Dom's out there with like AirPods in, just jamming to his own tune. All right, fine. Who's number 1?
I think it's Drew.
Okay, Drew McIntyre.
For the year, it's Drew. Like, if we're talking about buzz, I think it's Drew.
Drew Mac. Number 2, Cody.
The Rock. Buzz. Ooh. Remember Buzz.
The Buzz.
That first 4 months, bro. I honestly, there's a strong case for The Rock to be 1, dude.
True, but...
Dude, should The Rock be... I think The Rock should be 1. In terms of buzz, what we do for the new heat order. For buzz...
That's right. That's right.
Not super. This isn't Superstar of the Year, folks. And frankly, if this is your first episode, if this is your first episode of Wrestling is Cool, the new heat order will never make sense to you.
No, it won't, unless you stick with us throughout the year. I was gonna do like a calculation. I remember last year I tried to do that, like who got the most number 1s, and then
that's too much work. That's
too much work, bro. I can't even chat GPT it. All right. Number 1, The Rock, the final boss. Number 2, Drew Mac.
Drew Mac.
Number 3, Roman or Cody.
I would go Cody.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Number 4, Roman Reigns. The cinematic promo between Cody and Roman was nice.
Yeah.
The thing with The Rock, he stood up to him when we go, if you.
Okay. All right. We can go
Okay.
Roman here.
Number 5, Big Show.
Stop.
Number 5. Let's throw in a lady here because I think the women could get Rhea
There-
Ripley,
Rhea Ripley had a weak 2024, dude.
Liv Morgan.
I would go Liv Morgan over Rhea Ripley.
You know what's my most viewed Instagram post?
What?
Gorgeous woman like me.
A little turn.
Yep. Number 6, Carlito. No, number 6.
The PlayStation 5.
The PlayStation 5, the tendies. All right, number 6. Here's a list so far. And if these are upgraded, very expensive graphics. Number 6. This is tough, man.
Oh, number.
I mean, at the beginning, it was definitely Ivar had some buzz. I loved Ivar.
Yeah, but no. Bronson Reed has to be in the conversation. Solo?
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker would be lower, I would say.
Okay. Solo. Jacob Fatu 6, bro.
I would put
Come on.
New Bloodline. New Bloodline.
Bloodline.
The whole
Yeah,
whole faction. I'd put New Bloodline there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing? 7, CM Punk.
Yeah. CM Punk.
Okay.
It's just that CM Punk had one
Was missing
feud.
for a while.
One feud.
Yeah, CM Punk is a good place at 7.
Yeah.
Right. 8, any tag teams? No, because the tag team division was a great. Any guilty
Joe
pleasures?
Hendry?
It was like a 2-month span.
But it was crazy, dude. The most viewed social media clip in
you wanna put the
WWE
boom
of the
guys
year.
in? You want to put the boom guys in? You wanna
We bring the boom. Okay, look, I'm just saying, have it in the back of your head.
All right, it's in the back of my head. Here's the list so far. I mean, we have Kevin Owens as a possibility. We have New Day. I think New Day kind of brought it at the very end, dude.
At
They hit
the
a home
end,
run.
though, but this is the whole year. We can't use recency bias.
What do you mean? Don't recency bias me. I was on the train early. All right, I was
All right,
here
you
early.
Were,
you know
you
they
were
start-
on the train
they
early.
started it in May, sir. In May, and it took you 6 months to realize that you were wrong. 6 months, Santi. You called him bum ass Kofi and bum ass Xavier.
You're really gonna hold this over me for our entire career.
Dude, this is a year. This is a year in the making. I'm just making a case for the New Day. They started off in May.
Okay, the New Day I'm interested in. I'm interested in having them on the list.
I'm intrigued.
I'm intrigued, yes. Come on, there's
I'm
got to
gonna
be
put-
names we're missing here.
Hold on. Bronson Reed?
Bronson Reed, I would have over the
Tiffy?
New Day.
Tiffy? Tiffy, a great elimination
I'd have Chelsea
chamber?
Green over Tiffy.
Okay, I'm writing names down. Chelsea, Bronson. Any love for Nia here?
No.
Any love for, where are they called in Tongans in the New Bloodline? Bronson Reed then, 8.
Yeah, let's go Bronson Reed.
Okay. No love for Rhea at this point.
No,
Does she
Rhea,
make the
dude,
list?
Rhea had a weak 2024.
She was injured most of it.
She was injured most of it, and going into WrestleMania 40, she never had matches on Raw. Like
She had that feud with Becky kind of like stifled her a little bit.
yeah, that was the match was fine. The feud wasn't great.
And when she was trying to be mafiosa mommy, I never liked that. It didn't work for her. Didn't work for her. And you know what? She lost her dom.
What about like Damian Priest or Jey Uso?
Oh, dude, we gotta have Jay.
Okay.
100% Jay.
Okay.
Now, where does Jay go? Does Jay go above Bronson? I would have to say so.
I would say so too. I'd go Jey
Okay,
then
does he
Bronson.
go beyond? Okay, does he go beyond New Bloodline?
No,
Does he go beyond CM Punk?
no,
Okay.
no. I think we got him right.
8 for Jey Uso. It seems good. Not gonna lie, it's a solid place for the year. All right, that leaves us with 10, bro. I could put a Chelsea Green here. I could put a New Day here.
How do we feel about Gunther?
Oh my God, we forgot about Gunther. He released his Pokemon, Ludwig.
Yeah, record-breaking championship reign.
Great King of the Ring
King
against
of the
Randy.
ring. Oh, dude, we gotta have Gunther.
Yeah, good. Hey, Santi,
Hey.
you forgot about brain rot, Santi.
Santi. That's a good brain rot. That's a good brain
That's a
rot.
good brain rot. Okay, but does Gunther go higher If Gunther's on this list, I think he goes higher than New Bloodline.
No, I disagree.
Oh,
In
higher
terms
than
of
Punk?
buzz,
Okay, you're right.
what
You're
was
right. You're
created?
right.
No way.
But the only black eye in Gunther's run is his Shy Gunther run. That was dumb. Come on. I might lose. All right. I think we have it met. I think Motor City Machine Guns came a little too late. They're
Too
still
late.
very too late. Let's see, Grayson Waller, A-Town, they kind of were just there throughout the entire year. I mean, they had great things during the build up to Perth, of course, because Grayson Waller, and they had that funny moment where he gets thrown right into the sign. That was a good moment. Braun Strowman was injured for a bit, had the great feud with Bronson Reed. Jade Cargill, Bianca have been tag team written, which is kind of a shame. If there were singles, that'd be great. Candice LeRae, fun little heel turn. That was a fun little thing against Indy. American Made was okay. Chad Gable lost a lot of steam. I'm just reviewing everybody. Lost a lot of steam coming off the White Six feud. The White Six have been hot and then got cold so fast because they just disappeared during the month of Halloween, which was dumb when they could have just been running roughshod. Nia Jax is a little bit inconsistent in the ring, but she's been really solid backstage. Tiffany Stratton with the Money in the Bank briefcase hasn't been that great. It's been a very poor run for her. Lyra Valkyria disappeared and ended up with PFC, which was weird for that moment, with feuding with that, and then went to the 2-hour Raw. I feel like I'm Rain Man right now, just like flooding with all the memories.
Okay, wait. So what's our list looking like right now?
All right, you're disconnecting me from the Matrix.
Yeah, I needed to unplug you.
We have ignore this side because that's like an older list. We have number 10 Gunther, number 9 Bronson Reed, number 8 Jey Uso, number 7 CM Punk, number 6 New Bloodline, number 5 Liv Morgan, number 4 Roman Reigns, number 3 Cody Rhodes, number 2 Drew Mack, and number 1 The Rock, the final boss.
It's gonna be Bloodline Rules, Mama Rhodes. And that's it,
You know
dude.
what? Weakest slap of the year, Mama Rhodes. She should have slapped the hell out of AJ.
I agree.
Biggest underrated, like, oh my God, is Mama Kofi turning
Mama
on.
Kofi. Dude, so many mamas this year. So many mamas to talk about.
Mamas. My mom would not do well in a spot.
No?
It's a lot of pressure. Maybe, I don't know. I've never seen my mom like hit somebody.
You've never seen your mom in a WWE atmosphere?
No.
Is that what you're telling me? Wow, shocker.
Yeah. Don't doubt Mama Sancho.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for sitting through the wikis with us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Wrestling is cool in general in 2024 and everything that we provided, because we really expanded things in 2024 way more than we had in 2023. So thank you for sticking with us. A special extra thank you goes out to those $15 patrons that support us, that get access to the Discord. Of course, they get access to all the content, but they also get their names read here as
Name
producers.
Kuwaiti Rick Boogs.
Kuwaiti Rick Boogs. You like Kuwaiti Rick Boogs?
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Okay.
That was my favorite one. What's yours?
Oh, CM Puff. I like CM Puff.
That's a good one.
CM Puff was a good name. All right, let's roll here. A special thank you goes out to Sancho Mania Running Wild, F.U. Santi on first, Nick Harvey, Aaron Garcia, Akira Kemp, Akai is gone, Alejandro, Alex Regal, Santi, it's pronounced Alex Regal. Well, why don't you spell it like Alex Regal? God damn it, man.
Valid. Regal. Regal.
I get it. Yeah, if I see Regal, that's how I say it. But Sancho, it's spelled Reigle. Regal.
No, there's an extra vowel in there, brother.
Regal. That's Regal, bro.
Regal.
R-I-E. That's Regal. Anyways. Alexander Dawson, Alan Crockett, Anita Max Win, Antony, Ashley, Asperlitz, Ozzy King Slayer, Austin Baker, Austin Gregory, Austin Theories, RIP Matt Pat, Authentic Chocolate, Aiden Sean, Bailey Fuller, Bailey Saunders, Batsy, Ben Calloway, Ben Farton, Barry B. Hostile, Big Bobby Sasquatch, Big Shy. That's not dumb. It's funny, bro. I'm sorry that's funny.
You read it, then you laugh.
Blast Pass 64, Blue Bod, Bluefish 13, Brad, Brady Keaton, Brandon, Brian Ibarra, Bry Guy, Bryce Burt, Bunker Jonesy loves WWE, Caleb Lee, Callus Caven, Cameron Noel, Cameron Talks WWE, Carlos Gonzalez, CB, Change My Name because Santi can't say Dutch words, Chew Poppy, Chimchars Collectibles, Chris Butters, Lucas, Chris Harris, Christian Billick, Christian G, CM Puff, there he is, Colin O'Malley, or probably O'Malley, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson, Daniel Hu, Dark Flame, DJ Broadnax, Dom should win everything, Dorian Best, Drew Baumgarn, Duck Slave, Dumsky, Dylan Kana, El Yochi, Emmanuel Holmes, Aaron Thorne, Isach, Bolt stocks are way up. Board the train now. Choo choo. Sancho, would you like to be a Chargers fan throughout this playoff run?
Hell no.
Okay, you're lost. Super Bowl champs, here we come.
Fletcher Walpole. Okay, wait. My favorite segment that we had is when I was laughing so hard that the LA Chargers were like a charging, like a phone charger that broke your phone.
So dumb. Fletcher Walpole, floating, forever wrestling. Franklin.
You remember that?
No. Yeah, I do. Franklin L. Everett, Gamerscape, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, Goofy Goober, GXA Man, Heartfelt, Hoodie Cam. I missed the Jerry Show. Issa David. It's Chief Season, baby. It's Mr. Jack,
Ew.
Jack Gibley, Jackson, Jacob Pena, Jacob Staffel, Jakota Gamblin, Jaden, Jada, Jake Shavoya, Shavoya, baby. James Brian Balago, Jassim Alcazar, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Jeremiah, Jesse Gibson, Jay Uso has the best entrance of all time. Joe Velez. That's in the running for my favorite name too. Joey Romig, Jolly Green Giant, Jordan Lynch, Jordy Marte, Josby, Jose Santi's cousin, Joseph Pointer, Josh Sutton, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Juicy J153, Jumpy Plastic, Justin Courtwright, Justin Perkins, Caden Rivers, Caden Burgess, Candine Casaz, Kuwaiti Rick Boogs, Kyrie Lawrence, Lil Shifu, Luke Parker, Luke Sika, Manly Man, Marnie YCSM, Matthew Adala is all I need, Matthew Feth, Matthew Oberg, Matthew Watkins, Max Dupree, Mekki, Michael Purnell, Miguel Paredes, Mikey Rada, Mitchell Harris, Mitchell X, Muhammad Albanai, Monte Moore, Nathaniel Stevenson, Neb, Nellen Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Noah Burden, Obi Nobi, Osama Awad, Pat R, Pat McMark, Pim Caw, Frody, Pulaculo, Puyo Punk Van 6, Puppet Spanker Johnson. Ooh, you've been a naughty puppet.
Stop.
Smack. Anyways, Raphael 3030, Reaper God, Ricky Dutcher, RKO, Robert Rogers, Rocky B, Royce Ruffo, Riley. Santi is a bandwagon for these trains. Lamau, Santi, Sancho Santi. Santi wants Sancho to give him the glaze. Saudi Rick Boogs, Screamo Scott, Semba, Seth, Shaggy WWE, Shawn Michaels right nostril, Sidney Floyd, Sip God, Sir Nightmare, Skylar Brashears, Slow Toke Rodriguez, Smooth J2, Solo, I love you, Solo, fuck you, Summer V1. Those are all three different people, by the way.
It's a good little
nice stretch.
Best faction. Right there.
That's the best faction of the year right there. Yeah. Squirt Angle. Oh God, that name, bro. That's a new one. Squirt Angle. It was there last week and it stuck with me.
Best debut
of the year. Underrated right here. Stephanie Vaquera lookalike contest in my bedroom. Stone Cold Peach Austin, Stucky, Sugar Shane, Super Malachi Galaxy, the first Patreon I Crazy Dude, Oh Neaters, The Undertaker's Son, The Underwear Taker. Thiem is a Dutch name which Santi can't say correctly. Well, why do you have letters that aren't pronounced? That's your fault. Tim Rodriguez, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Tommy, Trent Head, Tyler Free, V. Charles, Vegan Penguin, Juan Pablo, Wesley Simpson, White Mexican, Woe JC, Javier Izquierdo, X Deadshot, Zach Griffin, Zay2K, and Zerg Zito. Thank you all for being a patron for the $15 tier. Very generous of you. Thank you so much for your love, your support throughout all of 2024. Sancho, any parting words for our viewers and our patrons?
2025 is another year, another opportunity that you could, elevate your life. You could do something different. 2024 is over, man. Put that in the past. Whatever happened, happened. 2025, it's another match, brother. It's another match.
Beautiful. Beautiful words. We never even got to John Cena's. What would be John Cena's 2024 message of the year? We got to do that before we go.
John,
we also have 2 minutes to kill before we get to 2 hours. So
right, what is John Cena's lasting image? He's still here. Okay. By the way, I started off the year with John Cena already following me. You had to earn his follow.
I got it though.
This would be your last parting message from John Cena in 2024. Contend with the perspective that you are correct. Listen with the perspective that you're not.
Oh, woo, woo. That's actually a good message.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta think outside the box. You gotta take a multifaceted approach to opinions. You gotta see what other ones are out there, which is why I like listening to various wrestling opinions.
Mine?
Yours is like the worst of the worst, but I listen to it because it makes me think. It makes me maybe wonder what other people are thinking. I like listening to different opinions around the world. I don't corner myself to just my opinion because I feel like that's irresponsible to do, and that's unfair for myself to do that to myself.
You know what? I know we didn't think about it, but next year we need to add best wrestling creator of the year. We need.
Oh, that's us though. But it'd be hilarious if we just keep awarding ourselves that. No, you know what'd be funny if we get the real wrestling creator of the year that people vote and have him announce us as the winner.
Yes. Oh yeah, bring them on.
Yeah, bring them on. Their whole job. Yeah. No, here's what we do. We invite them onto the podcast. We don't let them talk for 2 hours. And then when we do allow them to talk, it's just to announce us as creators of the year. That's what we do. We really make them our bitch for that episode.
That's your lasting thing here for the wrestling school in 2020.
Sancho, riff 35 more seconds. I want to get this to 2 hours.
Can we think about the one and only, how dare I, the Glaze Factory in 2024 started off at an all-time high. What can we say? LA Knight, fantastic. How dare I not put LA Knight? You know why? He doesn't deserve an award. He doesn't deserve a wiki. This man is out of this world. This man is on a whole new level. This man is the stratosphere above all, baby. LA Knight, LA